You're right, clown. Not too bad, man. Just messing around with some stuff. Yeah, that was like one of the first time I met the boys in the IMAX spot. He just rocked up out of nowhere and did that. It's crazy. Awesome, clown. Yeah, not feel free to stick around and watch it. Not chatting much today. Just want to get some stuff done, and a lot of this stuff isn't working, so I need to actually just mess around. Just want to try and rapid fire through some of it. If you do have a question, though, just let me know. It just might take a while to answer. You don't actually have much time. You don't really like this. It definitely gets the Zen right. That gets right. It like definitely picks at the right time. So what we basically do?
So each one deciding on whether or not to transition into a pool over this period of time. Grab.
No, sorry, I'm just not talking. Um, sorry, Lynn, no, I'm just trying to get this.
Definitely better.
Basically, I'll explain to you what I'm trying to do. Yeah, no, I'm not talking much today. Basically, the issue with the grab, right, is that a couple ways most people do it. Like, you hit the surface, do the grab, and the animation does all the thing. But we've got a lot of physics-based movement, so the transition to it needs to, remain there. So you kind of have to extrapolate your current physics trajectory. Well, what I'm currently doing is looking at the necessary, like given your current speed, what are the parameters required for your horizontal and vertical velocity in order to, with your current, like, to reach the optimal point. In this case, it is that little grab point, right? So what I'm then doing is then querying this against um the animation set we have. So currently I'm querying. So say you're falling now, and then you say, okay, I need to reach us in order to reach that point. Given this time, I need to be moving at a speed of X amount over this distance um, in order to grab the ledge, right? Now, that is sort of like that's basically like saying, okay, how do I put it? Because I think like projectile motion. Think I'm falling, right? Now I've got this trajectory going like this. I now need to, if I want to reach another point, right? Imagine I have this velocity I'm at, whatever, like given like where I want to be. What does my initial velocity need to be in order to reach this point, given that my given just gravity, right? So then what I'm doing then is comparing that against my character's current state to see, okay, well, this is what I would need to be in order to reach this point perfectly. What am I currently? And then at some point in that fall, if you can grab, you will reach that uh like that. Let's just look at it vertically for it. You'll reach that vertical velocity, right? At that point, given a certain amount of time, in order to reach the point. Say in half a second, I need to reach this point, and you need to be in order to do so from this height and this like height way, you need to be moving at not like negative 900 centimeters per second, right? That's just your vertical velocity. At some point, you will that in your thing that like requirement will be satisfied. There'll be or within a range, right? This is where you get a bit more leeway. You will like pass that point of like this is where you're like as your speed increases and that changes, you'll like they'll intersect, and then at that point you can grab, right? Because then you can say, oh, I can now move at this speed. If I move over this time with this speed, I will reach this height of this point, right? Um, what I'm then doing is then going through the animation and being like, okay, well, through the animation, what point is that where those two intersect? So as I'm trying to grab, go through the animation and say, okay, at any time are those points intersecting? Say at some point it's 0.2 seconds you have to grab. Then I say, okay, hold on. 0.2 seconds from the land with the grab and the animation, these 2 points intersect or intersect very closely. We can grab and play this animation at this point, and we will sync up and land in the animation at this time. And also physically, based on our current like physics trajectory, we will also land in the world at that point. It works very well on the Z, very very well. The issue is the horizontal because you technically can't change that. Like that is not like it's technically set from when you jump. That horizontal as you move forward will change what you need your horizontal velocity to be. What I'm then doing is seeing if I can find an animation that has the required horizontal velocity in the motion of it to take me to that point. So if it's like I need to be moving forward in order to reach the point from where I'm at 200 centimeters a second, at this point in time, both I have an intersection of both the vertical and my horizontal velocity will like relatively match that. Okay, cool. We can sync up those 2 points given starting the animation at this time. The issue is that is technically not the like correct or like because you're moving at a different horizontal velocity to then say I now need to be moving at 50 centimeters a second in order to grab. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like the two are drastic. So you'll see here, I don't know if you know, like the Z is very, very pretty. Like the Z looks height wise, it drops into the climb really, really well. But it pulls into the climb artificially because and I think that is the leeway in terms of because technically like there you get a very, very almost sharp transition in. I mean, also necessarily help that the transition doesn't have much movement. So in that sense of like, This is kind of short. I mean, I really don't like the thought of landing being right there. That's the one thing that I'm a huge fan of. Really, you're at that point well before here. More so, like this is when I say latest, you should be at that point. It should not be here because you're already there. Really, you should be at that point. Like, if I can transition into the animation at some point here is wrong. Maybe like here, I don't know. Hey, Louise. Honestly, it's just time. I'm still figuring out. 0.4. So I mean, you've got a little bit of time, to be fair, to transition. To be honest, almost. It's almost hand rest is the latest at which you can transition into the animation, actually. Maybe that's the better way to approach it. I mean, secondly, we also move with the very, very quick, which like kind of lines up considering, the speed in which you're actually grabbing the stuff. Like oh, so I mean, this doesn't help because now you're moving away from the thing. This is the tricky part here. That is a problem. You know what I mean? But then there, didn't grab. The other thing I was thinking is basically taking each animation and like at each point sort of determining when you would grab, and then if, well, where would you be at the grab point given you started at this time, and then you kind of like compare that against your desired physics in order to grab, and then you go from there. Yeah, I mean that change I made now does not give it the consistency I desire. Really quick. I don't know if this is the right way to go about it. Like the other way is you can almost like take each one, see where it would land, and then compare how close the distance is. If you were to start at that point in time, and if the actual distance from where it, like, say, okay, if I was to play this animation now, given, but the issue, I really want to preserve like the Z speed of the character in real time. So like, I don't really care about the animation Z, if that makes sense. I care about what is my physics Z doing, and then syncing those two up from that. But the big thing is making sure that there is no crazy horizontal. I mean, its behavior isn't bad. Oh, that was quite cool. And like I don't. That is the leeway in the thing, right? Like that, obviously, because now I pull it to the thing, and I pull it with a whoop, but we can do that, you know, with. However, it's not. It's not. To be honest, it's really not bad. Um, I mean, it's better than what it was for sure. I mean, it's a very quick transition in there. I will be honest. Oh, do you know what though? But it's got a very quick blend time. I've been on Scarface. Oh, that's not necessarily always helpful. Let's increase that blend. No. That hand like here doesn't help. I both don't mind and do mind that because it should grab. And I wonder if I had an animation that was more of that. That just feels very, very sharp. You know what I mean? And potentially I could change. See, there's times when it feels really good. This shouldn't grab. See, that is massive problematic. I mean, and it's because it simulates the desired one, right? Unless I have because the only other thing I can do there is see if it syncs to the character movement, but then that has nothing to do with what I need. This like the vertical is decided based on whether or not I've got what it takes to do so. You know, vertically. I mean, I can do the same horizontally, but there's a lot of scenarios where you wouldn't grab. That's why the horizontal kind of is where we're going to be creating a lot of added movement. There may not be a case where those two cross over closely, but should that mean you don't grab? The animation really should handle that. I mean, I've got this. I'll do this. I mean, I anticipate a lot of times it's not going to grab. I also don't weight stuff, which isn't good. But
could, I mean, drastically weight the horizontal more than the vertical as well. Yeah, that's not gonna grab that guy. Will it grab this guy? Either. Didn't think so, to be honest. Something like that is not too far off. That's okay. And then, if we get it to actually move like a projectile rather than this weird root motion movement that we adjust. Okay, well that didn't grab, which is good. Okay, this, for all intents of should grab, yeah. Okay, actually, yeah. See, and I would expect this to not grab. Well, should it not grab? See, that down was crazy. I mean, it doesn't help that I don't actually have the animation I'm using was from an arm jump, not an actual like grab something. You know what I mean? So that drop speed is very drastically different, which you're seeing as it does a crazy speed up. But it's physically accurate. I mean, it doesn't. Before it would do like the craziest. See that? See, I thought that would grab. What if I wait? Just weight this massively. Just the fact I don't take this into account, so it's just super sus to me. Yeah, see that freaking. I think I've got to drastically extend this grab almost into like this. Because like it's not the land really is like I gotta be there then. And like I said, yeah, then this is the issue because hands at the right time. Bit more room, maybe. I don't know. Bit more velocity. You know, preserve that velocity a bit more. Hmm. This one, you don't make too much sense because it's still the exact same. Unless You know, the only other thing we could do is use the current horizontal. Ooh, we can use the current horizontal. Yeah, like the current horizontal speed to dictate how long. And then once we know how long, like this is basically what I'm currently at. That's the fuck. We then get this value. Once we know how long we have, we do that in the animation. So you got this long to land. Do you know what I mean? I mean, let me just end my debug. Oh yeah, because I actually need the sign for this. Know what? Two do cross. I mean, given your current speed, and I can pull back right to slow, almost slow that. Yeah, I mean, there must be a sync. Must be a sync. And I'm wondering, and I'm just thinking, because then what am I actually searching? It's not just the time. Because then, realistically, you could, I mean, technically grab at any point. Then am I just picking time? Oh, no, no, no. That's the required vertical speed. What is the current vertical speed? Ah, that's the thing I need to actually evaluate. We can, and now we can compare these two, and then when the two meet, find animation that meets that. You know what I mean? That might do it. Bang. Okay. Yeah, yeah, that might work. That might work. So yeah, yeah, you know what? So the case here is, let me go and do a standing jump. So we need a case that has given 1/900 speed, 0.2 seconds to catch it. Yeah, yeah, okay, okay. That's it. That's it. Because now what we're saying is at this speed, with your current horizontal velocity, you can grab it in 0.2 seconds. Now we play an animation that grabs the next amount, like whatever grab we pick, you got to start at this point in time in order to grab it at the right time. But the one we pick, we've got to wait by how quick you're moving, yada yada yada. Yeah, look, yeah, because then you say, because some cases you can't. So I'm trying to think like this case here, yeah, you need a significant vertical speed to get it over the required time. You need chunky downwards bang changes though, which is not optimal. Oh, it's because I'm pulling back. I'm changing the actual horizontal speed, which drastically slows it down. Ah, I do and I don't know. This is because I'm flying at this thing. You're like there. There, those two meet. They bang. You've only got you got quite a small amount of time to grab that thing. Bang, you're 0.4 seconds to transition into that grab. All right. So what we got to do? So we know how long it's we're gonna need. No, in the other cases are when you can't grab. If it doesn't ever meet, you can't grab because you don't have enough time to grab. You've overcooked. I see. So when you can't grab, like you've overcooked it or something. So if I overcook this guy, that's why I can't grab because I've overcooked him. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I've overcooked that. This one is not. Yeah, you know what? That makes sense. All the ones that look like you can grab. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I could now assess when this basically offset is met. Once that offset's met, this I need the sign of though, to be honest. Yeah, once this offset is met, then I go ahead and say, okay, we met the offset. Like we're moving at the speed. Is there an animation that I can grab within that time? It's not really. It's like a time match. It's not really a distance match. It's like a time match kind of thing. It's kind of a distance. I'm wondering if I can put this inside an animation and basically compute this inside here. Basically say, okay, well, how fast are you moving? Where do you need to be? Yada yada yada. At this time, do you have a time which you can? If so, yeah, you do. I figure I compute this in here to be honest. All right. I want to pop toilet real quick and I'll come back and do that.
this value I don't like. We need to actually calculate that. The thing is, this is like across everything. It's not just for this animation. That's why it's a bit useless putting it in here. To then do the check in here, you know, and it should really sit outside. It's just like kind of general for the grab. Um, 'Cause I'm just sinking time, really. All I care about really is if then it is some kind of distance, right? Time is more than the minimum search time and less than the max search time. Times. Oh no, hold on. Also, time to land equals. Oh, wait, no. Is equal to. Uh, now I'll give you our start time. So if it's like you need 0.2 seconds down, that means you need 0.2. Then we say if the time, start time more than that and start time less than that, then start time. End time is equal to, we'll do this for now, whatever it is. It's going to be an actual blend time, but whatever that is. Turn parameters. We don't care about this guy right now because we're going to use that outside of it. We're going to say in here. I mean, this is just stupid because you need to calculate it twice, but whatever. Don't really want to.
You still see this stuff. Required vertical speed, required vertical speed, 100. That'll funnel through into this guy. Doesn't care about that. Yeah, didn't care about that. Let me say, okay, well, basically, yeah. I mean, this is a bit of a faff and waste, but we'll, whatever. Doing the exact same things we're doing outside. We could really just search. Like, we could change. This is completely different. What we need to do. It just needs to be match at a time, whatever the time is. Maybe we might move this in here because I think this has to be, you know, animation needs to account for that. Start time, current versus speed, current versus speed. More than is that start time is less than or equal to the minimum search time. We've got some kind of ground. Chill out for a minute. Let's get you. Stuff is not working. It's so annoying, yeah, because this is literally like perfectly sync. Because and this uses still like the root trajectory, which is completely wrong. It should use the gravity like trajectory, but you can see even the motion to the actual point is wrong. But the actual physics of the grab are spot on. It does work, but it doesn't. See now that rather than using the root motion as the transition into it, I would just launch at these correct physical values. But I mean, already it's way more like because you'll see he won't grab this, or it will if you do like that. See there, that makes sense still. So yeah, so rather than that, I would just launch with these. Yeah, and so the weirdness of the movement is because it's not moving with the physics; it's moving with the animation. Whereas I would just launch with at that velocity basically. Oh, when it gets it, it's beautiful. I mean, and you still have to improve by actually going to the point correctly. But it ain't ever gonna grab stuff like this because you see the actual requirement drops. I mean, well, it does actually. Yeah, like that. I don't think it's ever gonna grab. And there's a tricky bit about that. Like the actual point, like when you do it, is more correct. No, I mean the animation is destroying it, but yeah, because the physics almost gets stopped so you can go to root motion, but I actually just need it to keep going to physics and then just So we got no horizontal velocity. There's something here. It's there's definitely something here. It's just the issue with this is that you have damn near no leeway. Like either your trajectory is gonna make it or it's not. Kind of, do you know what I mean? Like you either at a point pick the point at which you can grab, but there isn't multiple basically. Well, there is, right? There's anything up in that timeline, but the time will come when those two match, and then that time is when you do. Beyond that, it won't work. So you have like one shot, basically, which is like we've got to have some kind of leeway. And that example you're dropping down is a perfect example. Because the thing is, you almost don't even need the animation. He's actually just grabbing the thing. Now, so like, imagine now it all moves with physics rather than the route. It looked good, but so like the point you actually get to and the transition to is like a definite start to the right time. It just this time it looks beautiful and it's pretty. I mean, it's pretty consistent with it. I almost have no horizontal speed. Let's say if you have no horizontal speed, there's no way to grab it, which is right technically, but it's also wrong because you know you want to still be able to grab, which is why I'm like, oh, that is banging, and the motion's wrong. Imagine if the room moved beautifully in the right physical arc. It'd be amazing. That to me is very wrong. It doesn't care about the animation. No, no, for sure. Yeah, there's it's the physics. Like, so the movement now is we will get away from warps. So pre- pretend like he's not warping. Like that is doing it so I can get it to the point. But we'll move it with physics. But it's the fact there is no leeway in terms of like we basically, as you're falling, I look at your horizontal velocity, and then when you go reach a point in which you're like, oh, at this speed in over like this time, you'll reach this point, basically, in which you can grab. If you were to launch at this like velocity point you're at, which is wrong because that is indicating like you were to look like, you know what I mean? You already have a velocity, but that can change. I think I need to go back to yeah, I think I need to go back to um it's tricky because you technically need to do it at the start to see, like, almost shoot out multiple ones to see which one would get there. But and then you adjust the jump to make that happen. But if you separate the grab from the jump, it means the physics won't align every time. Um, but you still want to grab. So somewhere something has to give. You can either slow vertically or slow horizontally now, or like give it a horizontal nudge. The reason why horizontally makes the most sense is because, if you're just falling like this, you still want to be able to grab. So you'd be, it's almost like, oh, reach and grab that thing. Vertically is one you don't really want to play because you don't want that motion. So I think, I mean, I think I might go back to how I had it before, in the sense of like we assess the point at which I will drop into this given my current. Also, think actually, it's actually not about the slowing. There is no slowing if you transition into the physics. It's the case where your gravity trajectory won't reach the point. For example, like the way I'm moving, I may not reach that grab point, but that may not mean shouldn't grab it. Do you know what I mean? Um, but I will definitely fall through the grab point. But I do not want to look back towards the jump. It has to be done in the moment. So I think I mean, I need to better extrapolate the actual gravity trajectory because currently it's a little bit wrong. That's really good, so. I'm gonna go gym and I'll be back. Because yeah, I mean, it's fine given my initial velocity and that. What could other thing to account for is the change in reason why it looks off is the change in the position of the root compared to the actual pelvis. That increases because of default grab position, which is not good either. Um, which is why the body looks like it slows weirdly because that actually increases, which counteracts the gravity of it. If I was even that was when if I could feel gravity too. How can we give the player more freedom, especially horizontally? Vertically, not so much, but a little bit too. I mean, now we can get. I can go back to what I was doing before and just move it with physics rather than the root. Because you could absolutely gun it forward at speed. I guess it's just which matters more. This guy real quick. You're like there, you need to be moving down a lot quicker to make that grab. Now there, you really shouldn't per se. That one, but now I can say, oh, go to Andrew, but you're not moving at that speed. Doesn't mean you shouldn't grab. You know what I mean? Like here, you're just not moving at that speed, and there you've almost gone through the point. Like you say, oh, at your current speed, you're gonna reach there in that distance from it in half a second. Which, but to do that, to reach the height, you need to be moving at this speed. And you're like, well, hold on, I'm not moving at that speed. But well, you ain't gonna get there. Um, that's when you're like, okay, well then once I you either sync up and you say, oh, you know what, I am now moving at this speed. Considering I'm moving at this speed, I need 2.2. It needs to be moving at -1,000. It's like, oh, I am. And then you say, oh, okay, cool. At this point, you can grow. In 0.2 seconds, you can, at that speed, at that continued speed, initial velocity, you will grow. This is a little wrong speed. Hold on. Nah, it's accurate, fam. Yeah, 0.6. Easy. Now, point, you say, oh, I can transition into the grab because I'll reach that distance. Well, that's required initial velocity. No, no, I will. I will do. Um, it will do. Uh, yeah, you're thinking too. You're thinking what like about the. I'm not too focused on the animation. Like it's secondary. Um, the everything will look nicer when it grabs and everything like that. I'm concerned about the point it says grab versus the input. Um, because in essence, if you miss that window to grab, I'll be like between like £25 something. You can't, but it's like you know what I mean. Like we need leeway, which means like the physics needs to be able to be adjusted. Just thinking where the best way to. Yeah, but the prep pose it will do. That's whatever. That's just the the falling animate, but that's fine. Um, with the actual with the point, how can we help you get there? All right, I want to go gym, and then I'm gonna roll it back a little bit, and then go from there. Which is